Good morning, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, everywhere. This is going to have a live companion to it out there somewhere. I'm Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson, and welcome to the broadcast booth. Even though we are running behind, my allergies started kicking my ass yesterday. So I took some medication, some allergy pills, and they knocked my ass out. So that's why we're here a little bit later than the norm. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody, though. Got my other microphone just in case this one runs out of juice, battery juice. Yeah, 2 days. 2 days before Christmas. Are you all ready? Do you have all of your last minute gifts bought up and ready to go? Are you looking forward to Christmas? Are you hoping that you get what you asked for? Now, like most of us, especially in the adult world, not that adult world, we tend to get what we want anyway because we buy it. We buy up what we want, so it makes it difficult for people to buy gifts for us, just because we probably already have it. You know, it's just like the girlfriend went to um, Books a Million yesterday because she's like, I need to run an errand. I need to go get, one more Christmas gift, and she didn't tell me what it was, of course. I'm looking for it right now. What I did with it. I'm just looking real fast. I thought it was right here. It was at one point in time. But anyway, she got there and she remembered that, oh, we, if her memory recalls, got it at the same time while we were there, because she did make mention that, if I didn't get it then, it probably wouldn't be there whenever we came back to get it at a later date. And so once she got there, she saw the book was gone, and she was like, that's when she came clean. That she went to Books a Million to get a book. And I was like, yeah, don't you remember we bought it together? And it was Gillian Anderson's book. Um, that's why I was trying to find it because I can't remember the exact title of it. But we just, oh, here it is. Not that Want. This one right here, which is autographed by Gillian Anderson on the inside. And if you know Gillian Anderson, she is Agent Dana Scully from The X Files. And so this is her book right there. It is on, basically, submitted by anonymous and collected by Gillian Anderson. A collection of fantasies from women around the world. What is a revolutionary, sensational, and game changing exploration of women's sexuality that asks and answers, how do women feel about sex when they have the freedom to be totally anonymous? So, there you go. If you are interested in that book, you can find it out there in the wild somewhere. This just happened to be the autograph version, and I couldn't pass it up since I'm a big X Files fan. And Gillian Anderson is one of my all-time favorite leading women. And yes, she did lead for a while during the X Files when the David Duchovny contract was going through negotiations. And so, uh, she's a great actress all the way around. Great woman. I haven't met her personally, but I'd like to. Uh, and so, let's talk about, this is the holiday season. It is tough times for a lot of people. And if you're going through anything, 988 is a prevention hotline, or hit up my DM. Seriously. If you need to talk, because I just saw where another actor uh, took himself off this planet um, from The Wire. And I think he was also in Welcome to Derry or Derry. the new HBO hit sensation about the beginnings of Pennywise, the dancing clown. And so I think he was in that. I could be wrong, but if you are having troubles and you need to speak to somebody, talk to me. Me being a disabled veteran, going through PTSD, depression, anxiety, and things like that on a regular basis. I know what it's like when you don't have somebody to talk to, and if we can help prevent you from taking that walk off a long walk off a short pier, then we'll do it. And particular, you can take a walk off that pier as well because it is true symptoms, especially when your brain gets scrambled in an IED blast. So you can keep those opinions to yourself, bud. And a lot of other symptoms out there that people like this guy say are made up symptoms are not. So you know, and we're gonna get rid of this dick right here, absolutely, because we're not playing this shit. Being a disabled veteran, you are a fucktard. So goodbye. Have a great day. And we're reporting his ass right now. And there we go. And normally it takes away. Hey, what's going on, Jeffrey? How's it going out there? Today we're talking about, are you ready for Christmas? I was talking about a prevention hotline just because, you know, it is that time of season. It is hard for people that have lost people right up till, some people just recently lost people. And here it is Christmas time. And so Christmas will never be the same for them, you know. So we did put up a 988 number, prevention hotline. And if you need to talk about anything, you can hit me up in DMs or you're right here. So now we're talking about you've got 2 days till Christmas. Are you ready? Are you ready for Christmas? Some people are, some people aren't. The stores are packed brim to brim. They are um, wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder, with people still running in trying to get those last second gifts because it's not like you didn't have 365 days in the year to get your presents already. But now you're scrambling to get that last minute Christmas gift. So are you guys ready for Christmas? Are you as ready as you're going to be? We started watching Christmas movies last night. We watched Jingle All the Way was the first one we watched, and then we watched, which the girlfriend slept through most of it, and then we watched. My kids are older now. It's hard to keep the spirit alive. I hate the music. Hey man, I get it, and I just don't see. I don't understand those people that can listen to it 24/7, 365 days a year. My ex sister in law could do that, especially if it was on the Christian side of things. But she would listen to Christmas music on a regular basis. Uh, and now I'm not going to say she would listen to it 365 days a year, but it was damn near close. Um, and I hate that it's that carry season. Um, and you know what I'm talking about because I don't want that for Christmas, you know. So, but no, my kids are older too. My kids don't even talk to me since the second divorce. So, oof, yeah. Walmart. I used to work there. They used to run it pretty much the same. As soon as Thanksgiving was over, it was Christmas season. Uh, but of course, they they run all three seasons together: October, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas all together. But yeah, no. So I get what you're saying about. I get what you're talking about. Let's see. So Jingle All the Way, um, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and then what else did I put on? I put on another Christmas movie. Oh, Home Alone. We didn't finish Home Alone last night. Um, she was ready for bed because she had gotten up at 2 o'clock to go to work, and because again she works at Walmart still. As of 2022, I no longer work for Walmart because I handed them my letter of resignation and said, "Peace out. I don't like you guys anymore." So, um, and so I walked away from the job I had of almost 10 years, which I didn't even think I was going to make it to 10 years. You know, so but yeah, no. So now I do illustration and homestead on a 24-hour basis because homestead never sleeps really, especially when you got two pigs that sleep inside right now until you get their permanent enclosure made, finished outside. You know. And is anybody keeping up with Stranger Things right now? I understand that that's a hot topic right now, especially with they're only dropping like what 5 episodes for season 5, and that's making a lot of people upset. So, and Stranger Things is a Christmas show since it does have the Christmas lights that you know give out the signal uh, from Will, I believe, right from the other side, from the upside down. And I stopped watching it um, there for a hot minute, but I'll get back into it. There's a lot of things that I just stopped watching. It was just like, whatever. Just like Walking Dead, I stopped watching it after probably season 5, and you're looking at it. This is one of my pieces of artwork. This is a painting of the Joker that I did. Right here, right here. And I've got portfolios upon portfolios on the ground down here that people need to buy and get off my hands. So, but yeah, you got some Batman, you got some Negan right there. You got some Boy Wonder and Wonder Woman. I'm just kidding. That's Batgirl. You got Luke on a tauntaun right there. Greedo, the young and old Obi-Wan Kenobi. So combining two different faces together. That one's an empty one. That's pretty awesome, huh? No, that one's sold. Vampirella, more Vampirella, and another sold piece right there. The Pat Bat and X-23, Laura Kinney, if you don't know, from Wolverine. Well, this is Wolverine's kid. This is my take on Cable, but done it Dirty Harry style. Yes, with Clint Eastwood as the main character. And then Cruella de Vil. And then Sting. I didn't get to meet him at the show because his line was astronomically long while I was sitting at my convention booth. We saw him. We saw him come in and the entourage that he had with him. But I didn't get this one autographed. I did get the Britt Baker autograph, Dr. Britt Baker over there. Got Ash versus the Evil Dead. You got Batman, the Work in Progress. Then we skip ahead because all those sold in between. And then you got the Black Butler right there, some anime. And then you've got the Feral Wolverine right there, right there. And then you got my creation, and I did this before Disney bought Marvel. I did some mashups, and so this one was quite fun. He's called Pooverine, Winnie the Pooh, and Wolverine mashup. This is my second rendition of this one. I just ran across my first renditions, but I don't know where I put them as I was cleaning up. So I did a whole bunch of different ones together. Now this is a comic book Spider Woman that has a blank sketch cover. This is a front and back on this one. So this is just the front cover of it. And then, of course, my Jokers. This is a tattoo idea. This is what I did it as, a tattoo style. And then this one is when he goes into the Bat Cave, steals the Bat suit, and creates his own version as the Joker. And this is actually the suit that's inside the comic book. And then you got Punchline #1, his new main squeeze. Right there, right there. Then you got some old and new generation of X girls right here, the X Men. You got Marvel Girl, aka Jean Grey, and then you got Rogue back there, the Raging Cajun. And then you got Green Lantern here, Jonathan style, right there, right there. And then you got another Batman. This was a quick sketch I did at a convention when I didn't have any customers. And then some Red Sonja killing a big old snake back there. And that's just some of the stuff right there that you can get right now and get it in your little hands for yourself or for them adult children. Again, that's just a small portion. That's my 9x12 stuff. I've got 11x17 or 11x15 stuff as well. I've got 2 binders of that because that tends to be the size that I draw on the most. I'm getting ready to do a piece that's going to be this big. This is an 18x24. Good God. I hate TikTok and their restrictions because I said, pick up some artwork. Since I don't sell it on the TikTok shop, they like to throw me some restrictions on a regular basis. And, it is what it is. It doesn't block my live, it just restricts it to audiences out there because I said buy my artwork. And TikTok has an issue with that. So, but anyway, this is what's called an 18x24 piece of paper. This is what goes behind all my paintings and stuff that I do. I'm working on a book cover right now, and for a novel. Yes, it's going to be out there in the public eye. And so that usually sits behind my paintings, like this one right here. This is the work in progress on the book cover. You got rusted metal wings with bone, and then you've got a old pirate's hat that's been weathered by the sea, and then you got this vinage, and all this represents the 3 different villains going throughout this book. And it's okay to show this. It's a work in progress, so it's not the final. So it's going to change up a lot between now and the time it's said and done. But yeah. So there you go. That's just some of the illustrations that you get to see out there. And if you want to see more, you can jump on my page at any point in time, and you can see what I've got out there. Because I've got a lot of different styles and things like that. Now I do flip through all of my shirts on one video, so you can see everything that I've got available right there. Maybe one day I'll make a TikTok shop, for purposes, But until I do that, I'm going to have to get restrictions on a regular basis because TikTok is idiotic when it comes to this stuff. That you can only sell stuff through the TikTok shop. That's some BS right there. I will sell how I want to sell TikTok. You are not going to dictate how and where I sell my merchandise. And hence, my merchandise. So, there's another trigger that comes along with the territory of owning your own business. Welcome to the broadcast booth, Casey. I came on a little bit later than I wanted to. I had an allergy attack last night, and so I took some meds, and they knocked my ass out. So that's why I'm coming on later in the day. It was about, 15 minutes late? Basically 20 minutes late. So, but welcome, Casey. We're already at 10.8 thousand likes, so I appreciate you guys out there. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. And I don't know where I don't know if it's at the bottom. I don't know if it's at the top. But you can also follow my other socials around. In case we already got a restriction because I talked about selling artwork, so my reach is already limited out there. So I was just a few minutes after you started. I was last. No, you're not a Ricky Bobby situation. If you're not first, you're last. Don't know what to do with my hands. All that good stuff. No, we've just been talking about, are you ready for Christmas? I know that some people are alone for Christmas. And so the only person they have to buy for is themselves. So when that happens, most people don't even do anything for Christmas, you know. But those of you that have a family and stuff like that, are you ready for Christmas? But that does not exclude the single people out there. Because I know several single people, you know, that are still going to do something for the holidays, for Christmas. And so, Casey, what are you going to be doing for Christmas? Are you going to be listening to the ACDC song "I Want a Mistress for Christmas"? I think it's ACDC. I could be wrong. It could be. Might not be. No, I think it is ACDC that did "Mistress for Christmas." That's their rocking Christmas tune. I really need to get that up and running, especially if I do a Christmas morning show. I'm just here for Christmas. I get it. I get it. And like we already talked about, um, even the other person that was talking to me that I can't remember their name right off the top of my head. Let me go see. Dun, dun, dun. Jeffrey um, already said he doesn't like the Christmas music because the place he works at plays Christmas music on repeat since November. And I get it. And we already talked about that Carrie song, not Carry On My Wayward Son, but the other Carrie because it's Carrie season. And it has been since, you know, November, right after. Most places don't start until right after um, Thanksgiving to introduce us to the Christmas tunes. So yeah, I saw that. I love Christmas music all year long myself, and I get that. And like I said, my ex sister in law, uh, she could listen to it 365 days a year, 24/7 if she wanted to. But she was just that type of person. She very very kind person. You never saw a angry bone come out of her body, you know. And I see Roy's hitting me up on my other socials, so he's going to be a little behind as well if he ever decides to show up over here. But yeah, no, some people are ready for Christmas, some people aren't. That's why whenever you go and just like we went to get some food the other day, and we went and ran a different errand as well. But at as you're passing grocery stores and supermarkets like Walmart and other places, the parking lots are just crazy right now. And it's just like, excuse me, you've had 365 days to get gifts. And I tell myself this every year that I need to start now. Right after Christmas, I need to start picking up Christmas for next year, and I never do. And that's on me. I'm the one that sets that goal. That's my resolution. No, I don't do resolutions. Those are stupid. And I get those that do resolutions and all that stuff. But do you ever stick to your resolutions? Like they say, like most experts say in the field, most people that set a resolution are done with it by the first week of January when it's all said and done. Some people make it through January and into February, but for the most part, those resolutions have already fallen by the wayside. And I get it. Some resolutions are just hard to keep up. Some resolutions are just expensive to keep up. Let's put it that way. Especially if you wanted to start eating healthy and things like that. To eat healthy costs you more than buying all the junk food. and the stuff that isn't as healthy. But here's the key to that: eat in moderation. Don't load your plate up, and don't just keep eating when you're full. That leads to that excessive weight gain. I'm speaking to the choir here, because it seems like all I do is grab a little bite here and there. And now, if it was just a little bite here and there, it wouldn't be so bad. Because those people that are working out on a regular basis say it's best to eat, small snacks throughout the day to, curb that hunger. So, to each their own. It's whatever you want to do. Live your life to the fullest, because tomorrow is not promised. You know, and so it's just like we tend to harm ourselves on a regular basis, trying to think that we have to look like this body type. We have to look like this guy, this girl, you know, this idol that people worship. And I don't understand it. Be you. Don't try to be this person. Don't try to be that person. Be you, because there's only one of you. You know, I hope seniors and such get a good meal and Christmas gifts, and most of them do. Even if it's not from their family, the staff usually, will band together and get donations built up and things like that. Now, I understand that there's some that won't and don't, because Christmas today is just another day of cleaning bedpans and things of that nature for the staff. And those are the places that you don't want to take your relatives to. If you're not housing them yourself and taking care of them yourself, and you move them into a home, you know, there are some bad ones out there. So just be mindful where you put your family in their later years and all that good stuff. Because it's not kind out there when it comes to the elderly. I mean, heck, my own uncle, my dad's brother, ended up, you know, neglecting my grandmother to the point where she got bed sores that got infected, and then that traveled into her bloodstream and ended up ultimately taking her off of this earth. He got prison time for neglect of the elderly, and since he was the sole caregiver, it even came to the point where my sister, my brother, and I had to basically nearly fight him to get him to let us see her whenever we would go over to visit. And then we did talk about trying to get her out of that situation and try to, move her in with one of us until we could figure out what we were going to do. But by that point in time, it was already too late, you know. And so luckily he did get prison time for what he did. But that doesn't excuse what he did, by any stretch of the imagination. And he was in it for the money, because my grandfather on that side, I believe he was in the oil field at the time, and ended up dying, a while back, and left her a good chunk of change, if you will. And so he was just siphoning that money out of the system and just neglected her. He was an eccentric cat anyway. Uh, so he was one that we never really dealt with as much, because he never came around for the holiday. He was just that type. He never came around, only hitting up his mom for money when he needed it. And then once he was, because my dad was already gone by the time she started getting into her elder years, or he would have been taking care of her, I'm pretty sure. Now, who's to say he wouldn't have been in it for the money too? But maybe he would have taken better care of her, instead of just letting her lay there in the same position day after day after day, you know, because that's how you get bed sores, especially if you're bedridden for a period of time, just laying there and not moving, not being rotated like you're supposed to be, all those good things. So, you know, that's where, like we were talking about, holidays and Christmas and any holiday can be hard for anybody, um, because it just brings out the memories, of people not here anymore. And so, be kind. Unlike the douchebag that was on here earlier that got blocked and reported, and and I'm sure you saw that too, Casey. And so, um, he's been on here before, and he hasn't gone to the extreme that he did this morning, and why he decided he wanted to be a dickhead today. It just got him banned, blocked, and all that good stuff. And I'm sure he's already got another account that he can go bother other people with, you know, especially when they shut him down, because I will continue to blast him. You know, I miss my mom. She made Christmas magic and fun. Really, not just Christmas, but life. And see, that's where things get hard. Because, like I said, our next door neighbor, they just lost his wife and the mother to the daughter that's over there, and um, right before Christmas, and I think it was right before Thanksgiving as well. So holidays are going to be hard for them for a while, and like you said, it's just not the same. Since my great grandmother passed, it hasn't been the same for our family, like I talked about before. Because we used to get together for Christmas and Thanksgiving every year, and we would have 30, 40 people inside of her house, inside, outside. All the kids would be outside, all the adults mostly would be inside, except those that smoked, and then they would be outside, periodically. This time of year is just full of fun, but a lot of memories to deal with. Absolutely. And if Roy would actually come to this side of the fence, he could talk about whatever the fuck he's talking about on the other place. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about on Instagram right now. So, but I am not going to remind him. He can get his ass over here if he wants to talk. And that's my gripe with Roy. If I've got any gripe with Roy, it's that he will jump from platform to platform to platform and hit you up on every platform. Facebook Messenger, messages here on TikTok, messages on Instagram, and then a regular text message. I'm glad there's not 100 different social media services out there, which there really are, because he would find a way to hit me up on every single one of them if he could. And that's my gripe with Roy. So I'm done with that. He can go back and listen to this full thing and hear my gripe about Roy. Love you, Roy. And so I don't even know what you're talking about right now. So you can keep sending your messages. I don't care. Welcome, Taticus, if you're here, buddy. I'm glad you got your new operation up and running. Congratulations on that endeavor. Those of you that don't know Taticus uh, Johnson out there, Taticus Tattoo, he created a new uh, tattoo parlor and opened it up not too long ago, last month, I believe. And so he is pioneering his own, you know, own endeavors. So that's exciting and awesome for him. You know, it's just like we pioneer the artwork over here. He's doing the same thing on people's skin. Good dude. He's bought several pieces from me, and I have yet to get anything from him, but I plan on it. So don't worry about that, dude. We've already talked about several different things. Not he and I, but the girlfriend and I, different things. And so, we will see when I can get there. It all boils down to the money aspect of things, as with anything. So, but he does a killer job out there in the Fort Smith area. I'm pretty sure that's where his parlor still is, because that's where he was at originally. Uh, was with a tattoo parlor in Fort Smith, And so that is a cool endeavor. And I like to see people succeed when it comes to that. It's just like Casey over here killing it with his music, and you know, very very talented guy. He has walked in the footsteps of Elvis. You know, yes, the Christmas parade from New York City. Get a rope. Picante sauce. Where's it from? New York City. Get a rope. No, and it's not just kind words, but you're welcome. First of all, but you are a talented guy. I know, things are difficult in different aspects, but you still are very talented when it comes to what you do, how you hear music, and all of that good stuff. And I could see you being a music producer in your own home. Get the soundboard, get the headphones, and get the mixer and all that stuff, and fine tune, music, um, as well as getting out your little albums and things like that, out there on Spotify and all that good stuff. But again, I understand that there are limitations to it all, and because we talk on a regular basis, which I love, and it's always good to connect with like-minded people out there when it comes down to different aspects of life. And this is the season to be grateful for. I mean, every day should be a grateful season for the people you have in your life that have crossed your paths. They've crossed your path for they've crossed your path for a reason, you and we sometimes we don't know what that reason is. Um, and it's like we don't get to know that reason sometimes. And welcome to the broadcast booth, Roy. We just talked about you. It's in a good way. Don't worry. Well, kind of. It had to do with you in a mayonnaise jar. That's as far as I'm going with that. Um, a Miracle Whip jar. Let's go that route. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, no, I'm not. But he does some weird stuff to his Miracle Whip. Just know that, folks. I was, I was late as you were sitting here talking to me on Instagram about something. I have no idea what you're talking about right now, and I will go back and find it and figure out what the fuck you're talking about. So we did talk about that because I'm seeing the messages popping up on my screen over here, and I'll go over there and read it because I don't delete like somebody that I know. As Casey says, "Hi, Royal Roy." You can just call him Roy the Spankster, the Miracle Whip Spankster. So Roy, we already talked about Casey likes this time of year and the memories of people gone on. And I know you're in the same boat. He said that the holidays just aren't the same when his mom was here because she brought the holiday magic, for Christmas. And I know you're in that same boat that you don't like Christmas. Is just another day to you now. Just another day to watch football and reminisce. So I know you're as ready for Christmas as it's going to get. On that endeavor, and I understand that completely, 100%. Um, and so and I get it, 100 because, like I said, when my great grandmother passed away, who was the glue to keeping family together from all walks of life, all of her children, her grandchildren, her great grandchildren, and beyond, because she did have some great greats in there. Once she passed in '95, things just weren't the same because we stopped doing get-togethers the way we did. Um, Not everybody wanted to go to my grandparents' house, so we would only have a handful of people there whenever, like before, we had like 40, 50 people at my great grandmother's house, you know. And so as we get older, holidays become a time of reminiscing, if you will, because we can reminisce on all the good times we had when we had these people that held the family together, that family dynamic. And um and it's just different. And for some people, holidays are just hard, like we already talked about. And we started watching Christmas movies yesterday. We got through two and a half, basically. We started Home Alone as the third, and then we decided it was time for bed after we got all of the animals situated and all that good stuff. So we'll start again tonight on Christmas movies and start where we left off with Home Alone, and then go from there. Um, and you can go and use your Miracle Whip while you listen to that Carrie season, Roy, about that little song that she likes to sing, and we won't interrupt you as you make more Miracle Whip for yourself, you nasty ass motherfucker. So, uh, now we already had to block one person this morning, which I don't mind one bit. Oh, see that gut right there? Yeah, you get to see that gut under my shirt. Hopefully, when it comes down to it, we're going to take care of that. It's going to come down to watching what we eat and all that stuff. A few years back, we did a Secret Santa for everyone, but the situation with my niece and sister. Yeah, absolutely. And no, I get it all. And you try to keep that holiday spirit, you know, with what family you have left. I haven't seen my parents at all this year. So after Christmas, I plan on going up there. You know, and so it's all just sometimes it's just difficult. Sometimes it's just hard, and because in your situation, Roy, it's a tough situation. But I'm glad you're out of that situation, to the point where you're able to live, breathe, and not have to worry about all the shit you had to worry about before. So we are grateful for you, Roy. We're grateful for Casey. We're grateful for Samantha here. Which if that's your true last name, that's a cool last name. It reminds me of the movie Donnie Darko. You know, and and that's that's a great movie. It's a freaky, twisty movie, but it's a good movie. Um, and I get that, Samantha, and it's for uh, keeping you protected. I'm sure. Oh, it's Wyatt. Okay, that's a good last name too. Goes with Wyatt Earp. You know, Tombstone, and another great film, which Casey and I got to bantering back and forth with, and how um, it's misspoke whenever you whenever Doc Holliday comes out of the shadows with Ringo, who he thinks he's fighting Wyatt Earp, but he's fighting Doc Holliday for the gunfight scene, and it's a misquoted representation of what he says there. He does not say, I'm your huckleberry. He says, I'm your hackle bearer. Yes, the pallbearer. Yes. I'm your hackle bearer, is what he says. But no one ever corrected that line because everybody heard what they wanted to hear at that moment. Unless you physically sit there and listen to the line, where he is going to put you in the ground, is what he's saying. That you're going to need somebody to carry you. And, instead of him saying that line, I'm your huckleberry, that's not what he says. And I had to listen to it over and over again, um, to the point where it's hackle bearer. And exactly, the hackle was the handle to the coffin, to carry, that people carried them with. And so, and at first glance, you hear Huckleberry because of the way he says it. The way Val Kilmer says it, and that is one of his greatest roles, in my opinion. I did not like him as Batman. Sorry, um, that was just too much of a campiness in his Batman for it, um, and I just didn't like his Batman. But I've liked him in tons of other movies, especially in Tombstone as Doc Holliday, the sickly Doc Holliday, with his silver cup. Yeah, yeah, it sucks. A lot of great actors are starting to go, especially that generation of anybody from the 1950s and 1960s, in the Hollywood realm are starting to pass. Just like I said, the guy from The Wire just passed, a couple days ago, um, and he took himself off this planet. So I wasn't funning Johnny Ringo, and um, and so that's what we're kind of talking about, is that this time frame isn't kind to some people, um, because all you have is memories for some people, and that's where I was talking about my great grandmother. She was the one that kept the. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Which it makes it tough on the holidays at this point in time, whenever you have just lost somebody, and then all the memories you have that you would love to have now, or be able to be like, hey, hey dad, hey mom, hey grandmother, hey great grandmother, what are we doing? But they're not there to ask anymore. Now it's up to you to carry on traditions for your family, and you know, and don't forget to like, share, and follow if you haven't done so already. You can also hit the little bell whenever you go to the profile page, and that way it lets you know whenever I post and whenever I come on live as well. So don't forget to do that out there. And if you do follow me, I do follow back. So I periodically go through and get rid of people that aren't following me as well, because they're not contributing to my artwork, which is what I'm wearing here. This is a painting right here. This is my painting put on t-shirts. So, and TikTok doesn't like it. That's why I have a restriction right now on this live show. And it doesn't hit all my shows, but it's this one particular because I talked about artwork that I do not sell here on TikTok Shop. Although I do sell it through TikTok. They just don't get their cut. See how that works? That's why they throw a restriction up there. Yes, this is a piece of my artwork right here. Hence the 412 Productions right here. The little logo. My alien logo down here. Hence the name of my channel. And this is just one piece. I've got tons more throughout here. Chester Bennington, if you're interested in that one. I've got Ozzy Osbourne back here, which will be my next one of my next shirts. Then we've got Ivan Moody, Five Finger Death Punch. My American Horror, based off the American Gothic. So ever since I can remember, I cannot give you a time frame because Um, the I was looking for it. It was sitting right here. Probably where it is. I got a piece from my fifth grade. Whenever I do have Elvira, I absolutely do. I have a piece down here from my fifth grade that survived the house fire at my parents' house, and I need to get her transferred to a shirt. Absolutely, I've got three different ones of Elvira that I could transfer to a shirt. I'm just trying to think which one would be the best one to go with there, because the girlfriend actually has one of the Elviras out there, and she's a big proponent of purchasing my artwork, even though she gets paintings and stuff like that throughout the year. Um, I would buy an Elvira. Well, we can talk. Hit me up in DMs, or I'll hit you up. Yep. Monty's work is really great stuff. Works of art. Roy has several different shirts of mine as well. But we have all kinds of stuff, and I do commissions as well. Just like I'm working on a book cover right now, and I can show you this one because it's not in its final infancy stage. So this is just the work in progress. This is going to be a book cover, one of the three book covers that I'm going to be working on for this same person. And this has got three different elements in here. You got these rusted metal wings with they're going to have bone uh, structures coming down in here for the forming the wings. And this is going to be a very dilapidated pirate's hat that has been weathered by the sea. And then this knot has a big representation of one of the villains in the book. It's a sci-fi. I can't. Not really a sci-fi. I'm trying to think of how he put it to me, and I can't because I don't have the printed out version in my face. All right, Samantha, just hit me up, or I'll hit you up later on. But you have a great night as well. I gotta go. Sick household. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That always hurts whenever you get a sick household. But I'll hit you up if you want, and we can talk about different pieces of artwork that we have, and I'll send you a video of some of the shirts I have. But you have a great day and get that household better, because that's why I came on late this morning. Um, I was had an allergy attack last night for some unknown reason, and I took allergy medication, and it knocked my ass out. So I didn't even hear her leave this morning when she left for work, and so yeah, I woke up and I looked at the clock and it was said 4:20. I'm like, shit. So I got up, went to the bathroom. Of course, I had to pay, and then um, got my apparel on, which I'm wearing my favorite show, which we already talked about, A Christmas Story, sleep pants, right here. It says, "You'll put your eye out." It says, technically, it says, "You'll shoot your eye out," with Ralphie's face on the pants. Now, I do have the shirt, and I believe the shirt, if I remember correctly, it's either his face with the words "You'll shoot your eye out," or it's him as the pink bunny. He looks like a deranged Easter bunny. And great show. We'll be watching that one here in the next couple days. Maybe even on Christmas Day, before and after the Cowboys game. Hence the hat right here. This is the fuzzy one. Super fuzzy cowboy hat right there. Not yeehaw cowboy hat, but Dallas Cowboys. And I know everybody hates them, and that's okay. I love them. Will always love them. My casket will be a Dallas Cowboy, or my urn, one of the two. Dallas Cowboy urn, or a casket. I don't know which. Yo, bro, how's your Aussie dry coming? You see, it's right there. One of the two. The other one's over there. That's how they're coming. I haven't touched them since I drew them, and that's hey, they're drawn. They're ready. They're ready for paint to be slung on it, and it's gonna look cool when I get it done. It'll probably be the first of the year before those are actually finished. Because I've got to work on this. I've got to work on that 8-page comic book. I got to get it going. I got to get you on a flat surface. so you're not bending. And so, um, there you go on that endeavor. But like I said, I've got 6 different paintings that I need to finish. I'm here, you. I got my Batmobiles to finish here, front and back. Oh, you. So I've got my Batmobiles front and back to finish here. You get to see the back side, the front side. I got to get those finished. I've got to get my most controversial picture to date. And I understand why people think it's sacrilegious and all that good stuff. But yes, we know, Roy. That's the only team we can agree on. The most controversial painting or picture that I started to date, which got me a lot of backlash from several different people out there, including my first ex mother in law. My ooh, I'm the Marvel Jesus, right there. You know, and you can see Casey. You can understand why people got up in arms about a piece of artwork. My representation. He is on an M. For Marvel, he is crucified as right there, and I get it. But art is a way to express different things. You know. Oh, did we? I haven't even. I honestly haven't even checked. I knew they were playing last night at about 8:30, but I was already in bed, half dead. You know. And Casey says I have no problem with that. Yeah, I got so much backlash whenever I introduced that one, probably about 2 years ago, maybe even closer to three. Whenever I drew it up, you know, especially after seeing Wolverine and Deadpool, um, where he says that line in the movie, and so I drew it up, and I got tons of backlash on it from different artists that are very very religious, and my first ex mother in law who is super religious. She's even a preacher's wife, um, and it's just an expression of art. You know, and as I told people, how many depictions of crucifixions have happened in the comic world? Wolverine on the cover of Uncanny X Men. Conan has been crucified multiple times. Mister Mister Miracle, I think is his name, crucified on one of the covers, and I pinpointed and showed like 7, 8 different covers alone that had a depiction or of some form, fashion, or another of a character being crucified by whoever had them, in their clutches. And they were like, well, yeah, but you didn't have to go that far and extreme and blah blah blah. And it's just like, dude, look, you're an artist. You get to represent your art however you want to. And I'm doing the same way. I'm expressing artwork in a different light. When it comes to what he said. You know, but I get the flip side of it too. You know, being a religious person myself. You know, exactly. Art has no rules. You break the rules when it comes to artwork. You just like music, unless it's AI music, and then they can keep that shit. Um, just like AI artwork, you know. It and I know AI is an art form in its own sense, but that's not what it was originally made for. It was there to assist you, is what it was there for. To help keep your brain straight, to help keep your documents straight, to help keep things of that nature. And like I said, I have no problems with AI detecting cancer early in people, no problem whatsoever. But when it comes down to it stealing people's jobs, it stealing artists' jobs, that's where I end up having the problem with it. You know, because ultimately AI does steal other artwork, other people's artwork, which we've talked about many, many times before here on the show. Because I'm friends with a few artists that AI has stolen, that someone has, you know, 100% stolen their work, piece of artwork, you know, and they have the side by side proof of it. One was a Vampirella piece, that it stole and and the person made it into their own piece of artwork. And that's why, again, I like the conventions, the comic book conventions, that you were selling AI artwork, you're gone. Peace out. Have a nice life. You're not getting your money back either. So enjoy that. And I've seen it time and time again as people are walking and showing different booths. And they even put why this creator is no longer coming to this convention, because they produced AI artwork. Awesome. I will go to your show as an artist, you know, because you are carrying it that far that you are kicking out AI artists. I will support your show on a regular basis as long as you have me, and my invitation doesn't get lost in the mail. Those type of things. But holidays, man, holidays are tough for people. You know, AI will never get the spirit of a work it lacks. Yes, it has no heart and soul, as you and I have talked about. AI has no heart and soul. It's just a few key prompts here, a few key prompts there. And on the music side, which I just saw something that this company just hired like 5 or 6 different AI musicians to make music for them. It was just like, you've got to be stupid. And there's no other words to use. You've got to be stupid. And it's just like, why would you take. No, 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 no. That's not the question. We know why you did the AI artist over, or musicians over, a regular artist or musician. You didn't want to pay the price. That's what it boils down to. You didn't want to pay their price, and you didn't want to have to create these whole cease and desist letters and all that good stuff, um, and things of that nature. Kind of like what I saw with a football player that was coming out about the NFL being scripted. And it doesn't matter how good of a team you have or whatever, it's still scripted to where you're going to lose the game or win the game. And supposedly they have the next 5 Super Bowls scripted out already, who's going to be winning those. So we're going to see if it comes to play out, you know. Um, and if it does play out, there's going to be a lot of uproar, when it comes down to the sport. I mean, there's already a lot of uproar in it anyway, but yeah, I know. I feel okay. I just didn't even hear you leave this morning, but thanks for stopping by. um, yeah, I am stuffy. I woke up at 4:20 is when I woke up, and so like I said, I didn't even hear you leave. That's how much the meds kicked in last night to this morning. Now, I did wake up a couple different times throughout the night, and but my body just wouldn't react. so so I appreciate you checking on me, dear. I'm alive and well as I can be, I guess. And let's see. Casey said, "I love some of the AI stuff, but in its place. I don't say get rid of it or get rid of, just no." Yeah, no, no, I get it. And like I said, there's a place for it. Like there's a lot of funny stuff out there, and I get it. But as you scroll through your social medias, you can tell what's AI and what's not. It's your choice if you want to sit there and watch it or not. Because I get Mr. Nice Guy, who hasn't been on the broadcast booth in a while. He sends me AI after AI after AI after AI messages on a regular basis. Some of them are cool, some of them are funny, and then some of them are just like, just too much. And he sends me a lot of, especially comic book stuff related AI stuff, and and I get it. I get the appeal, all that good stuff. But then some of it's just creepy, scary looking, you know, which is right up my alley. But on the same token, it's just like there's a lot of flaws in it, if you will. But there's a lot of flaws that can be corrected because of tippity type, tippity type, tippity type. Hey, I can fix that flaw. Whereas here, I fuck up something. I just fucked it up. I either have to fix it on the painting, or I just go with it. It's supposed to look like that. That line is supposed to be a little off. Those type of things. So it is what it is when it comes down to it. But like I said, I get the appeal of it and things of that nature. But as a traditional artist that still uses stuff like this, we'll get it all up here. Here, we'll do the Wolverine claws with it all, like we see happen on a regular basis. There we go. You know, it there is no heart and soul in that piece of work now. So yes, absolutely, Casey. There's just something off about the whole process when it comes to AI. Now, in music, it's a little bit tougher to tell what's AI and what's not for the most part. But I'm sure there's a rule of thumb that you can tell me about. Since I technically haven't heard any AI artwork or music that I know of, and I could be wrong. And on some of these newer movies, especially the independent movies and stuff like that, they could be using AI, and I just haven't caught on. Just because, again, I don't have to pay an artist. All I got to do is type in a theme sound that I want. I'm guessing. Again, I don't know how the music side of it works, and that's why I don't even use the new Adobe products that is stored on their cloud that says that they get to use your artwork whenever they want to because they use AI in the new Adobe stuff. So my Adobe that I've got is CS4, one of the oldest versions of the Creative Suites that they have. If I could move up to Creative Suite 6, I'd be super happy. But I'm not going to spend $1,400 on a program, you know, especially whenever it's a used product and I don't even know if the key still works for it or not. That's the whole issue with getting a used version of something is that the key has probably already been used and it's locked up. So you have to buy it. So even though you just bought this program for $1,400, you still have to go buy a product key, which is another 300 or 400 bucks. You know, so now you're 2 grand in on a program that you may or may not be able to use because you've got to go through Adobe to get the key. You know, you can't go to a third party, you can't go to a key generator and all that good stuff. It's just a mess. So I'll just stick with my good morning out there, love. How are you doing today? And so, if I could find a relatively new copy of CS6, Adobe CS6, Creative Suite 6, I would have it over CS4 because it's a little bit newer technology and gives me a little more options. But a lot of people love the new Adobe products because of the AI features that they have, and it makes their work run smoother, you know. And again, they have one for creative something or other. It's a music app that takes out, and puts music in for you that supposedly fits your style. Um, and so, I'm sure a lot more independent people are using that just because, hey, I don't have to pay a musician to create a song for me to put in my movie. I can do this, and boom, now I've got, all this stuff that I can use without having to pay a musician anything. I've got, I can do this. I need a cue up on creepy piano music right in this spot. So boom, there it is. I've got it created already. I need a intro. Okay, AI, create my intro off of my movie style. Those type things. And so it's just, again, no heart, no soul inside of AI music, um, or AI anything. That's where, buy local. You know, buy from your comic book artist or your local artist, your local craftsperson. Just like the craft malls that pop up. Fort Chaffee here in Fort Smith area has one on a regular monthly basis, and you can find anything you want that is, you know, done by a local artist. Now, on that same token, you can tell when somebody's used an AI image, and things like that. Like the people that do the woodworking, that do laser cuts on things, or 3D prints and things like that. Now, any 3D print that I use, I try to avoid the tagline that says "created with AI," because you have to put that in there with your. It's a disclaimer that you've got to do. And so there's a lot of cool designs in the 3D world that I shy away from because they're AI generated, and I just move away from those and just find the stuff that was created by somebody. Now there's a ton of free, and then there's pay ones that you can pay a small fee to get the STL file that you can create and things like that. And there's even donation buttons, on certain sites, um, for the creator, because you're just helping pay that creator's electric bill, or their filament fee, or their resin fee for the design work that they've shown you, because they create the STL file, then they create the 3D print, and so they're using a lot of resources. And it's just like here, whenever you guys give me the gifts, or things of that nature, um, or send me money directly via my Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App, you know, all that goes back into the resources that I use: paintbrushes, paints, um, microphones, pencils, markers, all kinds of different stuff. This marker, especially, this is one of my greatest pens right there in the world. So I can do fine line, thick line, all at the same time because it's got a feather tip to it. See right there. And so I can go from fine line to thick line if I wanted to, right in a heartbeat, all in the same stroke. So, you know, people think, oh, you're just doing fun stuff with the money that comes in off of your meta and all that stuff. No, I don't make enough off of my meta to even go pick this up. You know, a 12 pack of these is $9. You know, whereas it used to be $8.88. Now it's $9.30 some odd cents, or whatever it is now. And so the money that comes in from Meta isn't enough to even buy a 24 pack of this. Unlike some creators that are getting like a $75 Meta check, or a $1,000 Meta check, and things of that nature, because they're posting a lot more content than I do. I'm focusing on my craft. They're focusing focusing on the social side, you know, and I need to do both. I need to focus on both, but one takes more precedence over the other, you know. So I take pictures of my progress as I'm painting and drawing and things of that nature. And when it all comes down to it and said and done, I will post periodically what I'm working on. Do I need to get into a better habit of posting on a regular basis? Absolutely. Maybe next year I'll do that. We'll see. And I'm still trying to get into the process of, you know, having a camera on the artwork and over here so that you can see my lovely face and the artwork that I'm working on at the same time. Because before OBS changed something, I used to be able to do that. Um, but now anymore, I can't. So I've got to go back in since they just did a new update, and maybe it'll let me do it. We'll see. And I just realized I'm in the dark because I didn't turn on my other light. Maybe you like it this way a little better. I'm a little bit more incognito, if you will. I don't know because some people, like I've said, a lot of people on here, not a lot, just a small handful of people have said I've got a good face for radio. But anymore, if you look at radio, they've got cameras inside the booth, so you can watch the people, doing their live. They're doing their shows on the radio. Just like Sirius, any channel on Sirius has a live camera inside the booth as the DJs are in there doing their thing. Rocking out to the music or the guests that they have and all that good stuff. So you get to see their faces as well. So radio is no longer just a faceless medium, you know. So there you go with that endeavor. And yes, I have all my teeth. Well, most of them. I do have some fake teeth in there. So, how's everybody doing? You ready for Christmas? Those of you that are doing and celebrating Christmas, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. And if you haven't, and I know most everybody that's commenting or sending a like has already liked, shared, and followed. And, we keep in touch on a regular basis, it seems. Because most everybody right now love Roy, Casey, and possibly Samantha. Samantha looked a little bit younger than the crowd in here right now. We're the 50-plus crowd right now. Yes, I'm 54. Roy's 54. Casey is 54. And Love is 38. So, good stuff, I tell you. So, 76 degrees today. Gotta look. No, it is fucking December. We should be having like 15-degree temperatures right now. Yes, yes, Casey. I know. I was just putting you down with us, a little bit. You know, warm weather sucks for Christmas time. That's another reason why it doesn't feel like Christmas down here. So Casey and Love, I need all that snow sent to me in shipping containers. I need the shipping containers filled um, to the brim with snow, and just send it our way. Uh, and then once we get the snow out and put it in the ground and out here, uh, then I'll use the shipping containers as portions of my house. So it's a double whammy on that. And no, Roy, you're like more of a prepubescent 16-year-old with your Miracle Whip jar. So, and if you know, you know what I'm talking about. And Roy knows exactly what I'm talking about. So, I'm surprised you're still listening, Audrey. But I appreciate it. That's the girlfriend right there. And so you just gotta have fun with life because if you don't, it just becomes stagnant and stale and boring, you know. And You got to get out there and do adventures. Audrey and I haven't done any adventures in a while. We need to. We need to get back to some. Get back into the hiking world, getting out there and just going into the woods and disappearing for a while. Hitting the trails like Devil's Den and Mount Magazine, all that goody good stuff. And we need to get back to our crystal mining so we can find cool crystals like these again. This one's really chalked up, but it's cool. It's chalked up in a cool way, you know? Because this is fun. This is fun stuff right here. Going out and digging your own crystals. So now, again, we're going to go out to the diamond mine again. And maybe this time we'll know what we're kind of looking for. But, um, but yeah, we haven't done that in a while. We did it for, what was it, your birthday? What, 3 years ago? Maybe 4 years ago? Or was it even longer than that? I can't even remember now. But we went out there and all we came back with was a few stones and a couple of small crystals. But no diamonds. And then like a day and a half, 2 days later. Oh, so it was 22. Okay. So it was 3 years ago. And like a day and a half, 2 days later, somebody finds a 3.2 carat diamond. Probably in the spot that I dug the china in, and because I had a hole that was probably about 3.5, 4 foot deep, and probably about 4 foot wide, if I had to guess. And the stupid thing is, out there, you have to go and cover your own hole. So not only did I dig the hole, I had to fill it back in. You know, we had a semi good system going because some people were taking all of the stuff up to a sluice pen and washing it off and seeing if there was anything good. And because we had what, 5 people there, one, two, three, four people. So one of them was a kid, and she did great, but it's not for everybody. Going and digging in the dirt isn't for everybody. Going and finding crystals just chilling on the surface. Now that's for everybody because you do get the people that just do the surface walks at crystal mines and things like that. So, but it's fun, it's exciting, and it gets you out there and gets you doing stuff. Instead of sitting inside the house on a regular basis, and and some people like that, Roy. Um, he's talking about all this nice temperatures and stuff like that, but where's he at? He's sitting inside of his house. Sitting inside of his house, he doesn't roll out onto the front porch and sit there and your front patio section and sit there and enjoy some sunshine, enjoy some fresh breeze. No, I'd rather be under the air conditioner. Ah, and I'll be back out working on the chicken coop. I got some holes to fill. I've got some spots to fix up, and and then we'll start throwing down some insulation. Eventually. Um, but they can stay in it right now. No, I did sit outside for a bit. What, 5 minutes? Until you saw a person, and you're like, no, gotta go. Oh, we love you, Roy. We do. So, are you ready for Christmas? That's the big question. No longer than that. Okay, 6 minutes. Did you say hi to any of your neighbors that you saw, if you did see any, for your 6 minute stay outside? It sounds like a prison sentence. Okay, you get your outside time now. You got 5 minutes. Then you're back in the hole. Oh, I kill myself sometimes. Not in that way, TikTok. It's for entertainment purposes only. I don't need another restriction going on out there. Since I talked about selling my own artwork. And maybe some of you just need a mistress for Christmas. AC/DC song. Go look it up. Great stuff. Yeah, see? Uh-huh. I knew it wasn't long at all. You got the attention span of an amoeba. Ah. All right, guys, I am going to kill it for today. I do appreciate each and every one of you stopping in. Let us know what you're doing for Christmas. I probably will do a Christmas morning show since everything for us doesn't kick off until later on in the day. So doing a morning show will not be hard for Christmas. And we can do a little festivity type stuff. And as I like to say, as I leave you guys, love you all, but that's not what I normally say. We will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.